Blizzard Entertainment keeps reusing the same old content in this game. And you know what? That's a good thing. Okay, so what am I talking about? Alright, so I have seen it in YouTube comments, I have seen it on forums, I have seen it on MMO Champion, I have seen it everywhere, I've seen it in game. You have that occasional dingleberry that comes along and says that Blizzard Entertainment they have no original ideas anymore, and they are constantly reusing old ideas, old characters, old content, and it's because they're lazy, and they're stupid, and all that good stuff. Well, my friend, I have to say that I disagree with you, that I actually think this is a good thing, and I'm going to explain why. Now, first of all, what is it that Blizzard is reusing, specifically in Legion? Now, some of them are going to be obvious. Illidan is the biggest obvious one. We beat him in Burning Crusade, we killed him, he should have stayed dead, but nope, Blizzard brought him back. And you know who else came back? All the Warlords. Warlords of Draenor was just a reused idea. Hey, remember the past? Well, let's go back to the past and bring back Grom Hellscream and friends, because why not? Just a reused, characters and shit. Gul'dan, of course, Mr. Darkness Incarnate. We hung out with him all through Warlords. We're still hanging out with him, kind of, in Legion. It's so unoriginal, right? Yeah. We have Karazhan. Karazhan has come back in the latest patch. Everybody's favorite 10-man raid from Burning Crusade has come back. So they're kind of reusing that idea, sort of. The artifact system. The whole artifact system is just... I mean, come on, what is it? The Vanilla WoW talent system, sort of, put on a weapon. But you kind of have a new way of getting the points through the artifact power rather than through leveling up. So, whatever. And then you have things like Keystones. You know how you had a great time doing Halls of Valor in normal mode, and then heroic mode, and then mythic mode? Well, guess what, motherfucker? We got a 4th difficulty, and it's Keystones, and guess what? You get to do it again. But this time it's going to get harder and harder every single time. So... yeah, just reusing content. Now let me explain my point. First of all, a lot of the stuff that we have seen that has come back into World of Warcraft either existed a long time ago or it existed before World of Warcraft. So for example, before Warlords of Draenor came out, a lot of people didn't know who the hell, Grom Hellscream was. A lot of people didn't know who the hell Kilrogg Deadeye was, or the Orcish clans, or the whole history behind the orcs. A lot of people didn't know that. You might have known that, but to somebody that didn't play Warcraft 3 and who doesn't give a shit about the lore, they didn't know that stuff. They're not familiar with Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing with Karazhan coming back. Karazhan was a raid back in Burning Crusade. And how many of you, honestly speaking, how many of you played Burning Crusade? How many of you got to experience Karazhan, the 10-man raid, almost said dungeon, the 10-man raid back in BC? How many? Raise your hand. I did, but there's plenty of people that didn't. Illidan. How many people fought Illidan or hung out with Illidan during Burning Crusade? I'm sure many of you have, but many of you haven't. I mean, the list goes on. And the Vanilla WoW talent trees, for those of you that kind of joined after they removed them in Mists of Pandaria, how many of you got to experience that kind of 1 point choosing, filling up the tree? How many of you got to experience that? What I'm getting at is that by reusing some old ideas and reusing some old content and, spitting on their hands and giving them a nice little shine and bringing them into the modern day, this actually allows new players to the game to experience things from the past in an updated format, and it allows veteran players, someone like me who did Karazhan back in the day, it allows someone like me to go back to Karazhan, it's relevant to go back to Karazhan, and to re-experience that area. And it's also good in the fact that, let's say for example Blizzard wants to bring back a dungeon. Let's see, what's a good dungeon? Dead Mines. Okay, Dead Mines. Just had to pick a random one. Okay, Blizzard wants to bring back Dead Mines, and they want to make a Legion-themed Dead Mines for some reason. Okay, this is just an example. The Dead Mines dungeon is already made. Alright, the art assets are there. They know what Dead Mines looks like right off the bat. I mean, obviously they would put some new, maybe some new areas, some new doodads and stuff like that, but for the most part, half of the work is already done. You've got the concept in your head already. You know what it looks like. You've already got a piece of it that's already done. Kind of like with Karazhan. And so it really reduces the workload, and so Blizzard can put this out, it's relevant content, and it didn't even take that long to make. And it's fun, it's new, it feels fresh, but it feels familiar. And so I think that is pretty cool. Now, in regards to dungeons, I am going to say one thing. In regards to reusing some content in order to create more content. So, Mookluk actually made this point to me, and it's a very, very good point, and I 100% agree with it. Auchindoun. Auchindoun, motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? You know where I'm going with this? Fucking Auchindoun. Okay, what's Auchindoun? Okay, for those that don't know, I mean, all of you know what Auchindoun is, probably. But for those that don't, you know, Auchindoun, it's those 3 dungeons in Outland, in Terakar Forest. And they all take place in the ruins of the Draenei burial area, right? So where am I going with this? The idea is that these 3 dungeons are all in the same place. They all share similar art assets. They're all different, though. I mean, in one, you're dealing with Draenei necromancers and skeletons and stuff like that. And in another one, you're dealing with the ethereals and whatnot. But for the most part, all 3 of these dungeons look similar, but they have a different feel to them. And Mookluk and me actually had a conversation where he was making the point, why doesn't Blizzard continue to do this? Why not? Why don't we have, for example, instead of, let's grab the Halls of Valor. Halls of Valor is a perfect example. In the Halls of Valor, you've got the Hall of Valor part, right? But then you have that outdoor part of the Halls of Valor where you fight the Fenrir boss, right? Why couldn't the outdoor part of the Halls of Valor, why couldn't that have been a separate dungeon? And then the Hall of Valor could have been the Hall of Valor. Kind of like with the Karazhan example. You are creating more content by either using stuff in the past, or in this case, you would be using something that already exists and you're just expanding upon it. So again, instead of you just having the single Hall of Valor instance, you could have 3. You could have one, which is the Hall of Valor, kind of like the main area that we're all familiar with. Another one could be like you start in an interior area that looks similar to the first one, and then you go outdoors, like what we actually see in the instance. And maybe a third version could be, it's all that stuff, it's like the Hall of Valor, but it's corrupted by the Legion or something. So it's all the same art assets, but it's all green and nasty, and they throw some little evil fell on everything, and there you go. And so you get 3 different dungeons with 3 different feels, and then instead of you having an expansion that comes out with, for example, let's say 9 dungeons, well guess what, motherfucker? You just released an expansion that has 12 dungeons now, or more. I mean, I thought it was a great point. Full credit to Mookluk for that. I had never really thought about it. And yeah, I think Auchindoun is the perfect example of that. So when it comes to Blizzard reusing these old ideas and bringing the past into the present and bringing like some of these old like locations and making them relevant again, I actually think that's a very, very good idea. And I know there is that argument of, oh, it's a little bit of laziness. But yeah, I mean, as long as Blizzard is bringing back the content, as long as it's new and it feels fresh, but it feels familiar, I mean, I don't see a problem with Blizzard doing this. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen this conversation popping up sometimes here and there. Little argument, you know, trade chat, forums, whatever. And, you know, just people saying that Legion, there's really nothing original in Legion. It's just all a bunch of reused shit. And although I do agree that maybe some stuff can be overused or shouldn't be overused, like the command table, I don't see what the point of the command table is. Just get rid of it. No one likes it. For the most part, I think it's good for Blizzard to do this if it saves them a little bit of working time and it allows them to create more content and make an expansion feel more full. So that's my conclusion. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think it's a cool idea to take inspiration or to directly take elements of the past and bring them into the present? Do you think that's kind of cheating on Blizzard's part? Maybe they should do things that are more original? What do you guys think? Because I'm just one opinion among millions, but I think it is a pretty interesting little topic, and I am excited to see what sort of stuff Blizzard is going to do in the next expansion after Legion in this regard. But I guess we'll have to wait and see for that. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. That's just me throwing my point of view into the ocean of opinions. And, yeah. Alright, well, I've got a new Machinima video to work on, so I'm going to go work on that. And I got to record a Weary Traveler episode. So, I'm going to go do that. Thanks for watching, and peace!